Hey everyone, welcome back to the TSP podcast, the podcast dedicated to talking about business, everything ups, downs, and everything in between. I'm Coby and I'm joined with my co-host Dale. Say hi.
G'day, guys. Episode number two.
And episode number 2, the official episode number 2.
Yeah, this is our first take this time. So we're going to try
Yeah.
and get everything right on the recording end. You know what's funny is last time when we messed this up, we messed it up because we didn't do a test. And then we just jumped straight into episode 2 and didn't do a test again.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We just don't know how it all works.
So let's hope in half an hour's time we're not listening back to this going, we need to do this episode again.
Yeah, I actually didn't start the recording. There we go. No, I started the recording. The timer.
Cool.
So the timer's all good to go now.
Yeah. Cool. Recording is important. Timer can be a minute late.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
What I want to talk about today is last week we kind of got into a bit about what we what the podcast is about and, a little bit of our stories and stuff like that. And I think that'll unfold naturally as we keep going through this. But I think today, the most important thing is kind of for people, if I was someone listening to this, I'd want to know, firstly, who we are and what we do and all those kinds of things, which we covered a bit on that last week. But I think the second thing I want to know is like why we got started and how we got started, like the actual reason behind it all. Because I think a lot of people that listen to business podcasts, they got, like in some level they want to get into business or it interests them at some level, whether they're in business or they're not. But I think the reason why is such a crucial part of why why we do what we do and why people bring a new product or a new service into the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if there's no why, then you may as well just keep doing whatever you're doing. So I think we'll jump into that today. And probably my first question for you, Coby, is like, what was up in your world before you started business? Like before you made that thing and you were like, oh, dude, like I need some help here and I want to get into business for myself. Where were you at before that moment?
God, where was I at? It's not like I was at a bad point in sort of life. Like I was working pretty well. I was in management, at a gym, still getting paid decently. I mean, like as far as management goes and everything like that. And being 20 years old, getting paid a decent management wage, like it's getting you by.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's good. Had really low mental health at that point though, which was a big thing that I felt like so much was sort of out of my control. And I think that's when I kind of decided to go out there and actually try something new. And that's what sort of, the work was good that I was currently doing, but I was always like craving that little bit more when it comes to it and wanting to be able to achieve more, to be able to like purchase a first home, to be able to like actually live a life. And I saw so many other people around me doing so much more while I sat there and like spent all my time like just earning money and trying to save and everything. And I just wanted to, I think at that point I just wanted more from life, not to sit there behind a desk like all day.
Yeah, and when you say more, man, like, do you mean like more control, more say over what you did and how you did it? Like,
Yeah, more ability to be able to do what I want sort of situation. So like I suppose that freedom. So
yeah,
if one day I wanted to be like, yeah, I do want to go out and purchase something that was important to me, I could do that. Or not having to look at your bank account when you're trying to pay bills, that sort of situation. Or even just being able to spend time with, a big thing was being able to spend time with people that I cared about and everything, and actually having that time to be able to spend and not having to, spend your entire day working and then have to catch up on all that sort of stuff, in after hours or anything. And just there was a situation where so many people's lives weren't aligning, working all the different jobs and everything, and maybe you'd get to see someone for a couple of hours on a weekend. And I think that was the big thing to me, being able to have that financial freedom as well as that time freedom to be able to experience life sort of in my younger years.
yeah, dude, that's actually the number one thing when I ask those questions and when we talk about stuff like this with customers in the Sequoia project is freedom. That's the number one thing. And it's hilarious that you say that, because if I ask that question to myself, the answer would be exactly the same. And I think for a lot of people listening to this as well, I think that would be the number one on average thing that comes to it, is just being able to do something like for yourself in business gives you freedom to make choices, and I think anyone that's worked a job has looked at someone, a direct, supervisor or something and gone, oh man, like, why do you do it like that? You could do it so much better if you did it like this. We always say,
Exactly.
these people don't know what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. And I think they get into, when you like the idea of getting into business, the sexiest thing is the freedom that comes with it,
Oh, absolutely.
the ability to choose. And for me, very similar story. My thing was just more so I hated where I was working and didn't really. I said that. Oh God, I don't know how many days I sat around in those workshops going, I could do this better than it's being done. And
Yeah.
it's very easy to say when you're not taking any of the risk, and
No,
none of the
exactly.
money's yours and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, for me, it got to a point where I was just so miserable and I was so unhappy that I was like, if I'm going to risk all of this for this business, I may as well risk it for my own. Like
Hmm.
if I'm not going to get paid super, I may as well be self-employed because I don't have to pay myself super. If I'm not going to get weekends off, I may as well work weekends for myself. That's kind of where I was at.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and yeah, I've been saying for years, oh man, could run this so much better. And then I thought, well, I'll actually go out and do it.
Try
So
and run it better
from
yourself.
yeah, and literally prove that point to myself because and I
Yeah,
would have taken
exactly.
it on the chin. I think I could be honest with myself enough to be like, oh no, I'm actually terrible at this. I should never have tried. But yeah, no, I actually just wanted to know for a fact if I could basically put my money where my mouth was and do it better than it was being done. But I'm trying to look through this as a lens because I like when we chat. We have like when we just talk and we have awesome conversations. But I'm trying not to forget now that this is a podcast that someone is listening to this and where that person
Yeah.
might be and what they might want to hear. So I think my next question to you, dude, would be without making this more of a Q&A, would be so you want more freedom and you want more control to be able to choose
Mm.
things. Okay, I'm not going to work Friday because it's my best friend's birthday, so I get that freedom. But where were you at, like emotionally? Like were you tired? Were you stressed out? Were you fed up? Like where were you at there? Because I think there'd be a lot of people that find this podcast as an entry level kind of podcast, just two
Mm.
dudes chatting about business, that are listening to stuff like this or searching stuff in the search bar like this to go, well, this is exactly how I feel. I want to listen to someone. I'm fed up. I want something different. I want to learn about business. Where were you at?
Emotionally, and without getting too deep on it, it
Mm,
was kind of a point where a lot of what I've struggled with in life was like a lot of depression and anxiety.
mm,
So anything around that sort of factor, it just falling into a pattern of doing the same thing every single day. Like my schedule would be: you'd wake up, you'd go to work, you work until you're 5 o'clock. I'd go to the gym. I'd like either go grocery shopping or go home, all that sort of stuff, try and meal prep everything. And by the time it gets to like 10 o'clock at night, you've
mm.
done everything that you need to do and you're not having that time to yourself. So
Yeah.
it was so much like getting worn out and just overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed. It's not like I was doing a hard job. Like I built a system within it that worked for me that made it so much simpler at work.
Mm,
But it was just I think it was the repetition that not only did it make it feel boring, but it just felt so depressing. The fact that
mm,
you're doing the exact same thing and there's nothing as exciting in life or anything like that. I think that was the kind of thing that I really started to feel there. And I had a great team like that I built there with some of my close friends and everything to come work alongside me at the gym.
mm.
And it was great that you'd get to spend some days actually working alongside them and everything. But once you'd go home, you just know that you're going to repeat the same thing over and over again for the next day. And for me,
Yeah.
that wasn't what I was looking for. That wasn't fun to
Mm,
me.
mhm,
That just felt so like, for lack of a better word, just so boring
mm.
and so
Yeah.
depressing to come home and just be like, yep, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do this the day after. And I'm going to do this again the day after that for God knows how long, unless you make that change sort of with it.
Yeah, for sure. What the first thing that comes to my mind there is when you said that, I used to think to myself one thing, like every day I used to do exactly the same thing, go to work, do all that kind of stuff, come home,
Mm,
do everything that you need to do in your personal life, and then it's time for shower and bed. Um,
yeah.
was there something that went over in your head over and over again when you were doing that stuff? Because when you said that, something that I hadn't thought about for years just popped back into my head.
Uh, Look, every time I did it, all I'd think about was just being like, look, it's going to be worth it. It'll pay off in the long run. I'll be able to have some
Right.
savings. Eventually it'll be worth it was kind of the thing that would always play.
Dude, yours was so much more positive than mine. I
What
remember,
was
dude,
yours?
like years ago, I used to think to myself every day, I used to go, there has to be something more to life than this.
Yeah.
That's what I used to think to myself every single day.
I was very much taught that that was kind of your life. You'd go there, you'd get your
Mm,
job, you'd save, and then that was it.
mm,
There did get to a point though where I'd started like thinking about business and thinking about that sort of stuff, or like you'd scroll through Instagram, you'd see your friends out on the beach and all that sort of
Mm,
stuff. And that's when I kind of got to the point of being like, what am I doing? Like I'm
yeah.
in my early 20s and every single day is spent doing this. Like there has to be so much more.
Mm.
Um, and even like when my best friend got his car and he came up like with a Toyota 86 and I'm driving like this shitty Ford Falcon, I'm like, dude, that's so cool. Like, there's got like stuff like that has to be so much cooler. And even now, like we
Mm,
got motorbikes and that now, and I'm like, yeah, there is so much more to life now.
mm,
But towards the end, when I started thinking about business 100%, I was like, there has to be more. Like, how do I
mm.
get that more? But
Yeah.
to start off with, it was the repeating what everyone would tell me, like, just keep going, keep working hard, and it'll pay off. Make sure you save.
Mm.
And that's what life's meant to be. Once in 40 years down the track, or 50 years when you retire, that's what all of this is kind of for. So it's work hard, save up, it'll all be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. That actually might be a better. I actually like that direction more because there is a huge thing. I was going to ask. I got some other stuff that I wanted to get through today, but I actually think that that is a better direction to go down because I think I don't know anyone that hasn't been told that. Like even now,
Yeah,
like I talk to guys that run multinationals, like huge businesses. They've got 500, 1,000 employees and stuff like that, massive businesses, and they were told the same stuff. Like you're just supposed
yeah,
to get a good job, do your work, be good at it. They'll give you a promotion, and then you'll make
you're
your
meant to
way
climb the
there.
ladder.
Yeah, and I think the people that kind of tell you that, like the people that are close to you, yeah, like your parents tell you that, your friends tell you
Yeah,
that,
absolutely. Like
and
everyone in your life that you meet, and like
yeah,
until you go to that sort of internet point, and they're always like, "Well, I didn't do that, and here's how I'm living my best life."
and I think that's interesting because that's where kind of the two roads that's where they split. Is it's like
Absolutely.
you do what you're told and you do that for a long period of time and it'll pay off, or you go down the other road, the less traveled road, and you try something that's riskier and has a little bit less security and stuff like that, but the payoffs are so much bigger.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and I find that like there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I think for a lot of people it's like so many people are so different in so many different ways. So it just seems weird to me that 98% of us should all take the same path. Go and get employment, do that. Like
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
if we lined up 20 people and said, "Put your hand up if you like cats," like everyone would be different. If we said, "Put your hand up if
Mm.
you're allergic to chocolate," like the numbers would always be different. So to funnel so many people down the same path, it seems it seems wild because someone who's really risk adverse, who's like, "Yeah, I don't want to take any risk whatsoever," then that's kind of a perfect vehicle for them. But for someone that
Yeah, exactly.
doesn't doesn't care and is happy to run the risks and take it on the chin if they lose and celebrate the big wins, then something like business is more suitable. But I just find it funny how so many people, like I had it, you had it, everyone I've ever spoke to had it, um, was just take the safe bet. And I think the word that comes to my mind for that is security. Like if you
Absolutely.
love someone and you really care about someone, you want them to be as safe and secure as possible. So like if your parents tell you, get a job, stay in that job for 10 years, you'll get a promotion, you'll be making good money, you get a house, get a family, you can support everyone, that's all good.
Mm.
There is an element to that or that helps them feel secure about your situation.
They know you're going to be doing the consistent income. They know you're going to be earning that
Yeah.
sort of money. You're going to have your job that still builds that security. I mean, there's always risk even that comes into businesses as well. I mean, like a business can go like broke, and then that's your whole security gone. Like
Yeah,
it's not like
100%.
every aspect still has its risks. It's just kind of weighing that sort of level of risk, whether you're taking it yourself or versus like going to a business and having a lesser possibility of it happening to you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the thing is that like we can't forget there are things that are more risky and less risky, but life happens in between, and you
Exactly.
can even go. And a lot of people that listen to this, I might have actually gone through this, and that's why they're looking into business. They might have done exactly what they were told to do, or exactly what they were advised to do, and worked the same job for 20 years, and then that company got sold or went under or whatever it was, and they were made redundant, and now all of a sudden that plan doesn't work anymore. So there are
Yeah.
risks. No matter what you do, life is going to happen. But I just find it funny that so many people have been told the same thing, like this is how you do it. But not everyone has the same personality, so they might just be more. They might be better suited to business, but never had an opportunity, never had a conversation like we're having now, where that could be a possibility for them, where they could go and pursue it, learn about it in an environment that's easy and accessible to them. Because if no one else in their family has done it, who would you talk to? That was very similar with me. Like my old man was in business, but when I was a kid, he worked away a lot. So when he came home,
Mm,
we didn't talk about business that much because it was this kind of thing that's like that's the thing that keeps the family apart. So we just never
yeah.
discussed business that much. And like even in my later years, like going through business now, like I asked him a handful of questions, but it was never a back and forth flowing conversation of, hey, I can help you do this. Don't make these mistakes. It was kind of just like, let's just keep that arm reach because that cost us so many years as a family. So even if
Mm.
you do have someone in business in your family, that they might not want to talk about it. So it's good that things like this exist where you can go and find people just talking about business, and if it feels like the right information for you, then it might get you that one step closer.
Yeah, no, I had almost the exact same thing. Like my dad was in business, ran his own business for like 20 something years and everything.
Mm,
And then eventually like had to go into getting his own job because of like an injury and all that sort of stuff. So
mm,
it was something that like, yeah, he'd be working the late nights, he'd go down, he'd do the job, like start at 6 a.m., get back home at like 6 o'clock at night, like whatever. And then still have to do his invoices, his quoting, all that sort of stuff late at night. And it was one of those things that like you wouldn't spend as much time together. And like
mm.
even now that I'm in business, like I've asked him plenty of questions, and again, it's not that back and forth because it's still so different compared to like when he started it 20 years ago to now. The fundamentals are the same, but I feel like so much of it's changed with the
Yeah.
introduction of like say social media or all the advertising that we have now or anything like that. I mean, like a lot of people used to chuck an ad in the paper, and
Mm.
that's how some people got their jobs and their business, and now you can chuck some stuff up on Facebook and have a possibility of getting on the news. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
hundred
so
percent.
different.
But that's honestly that's the thing. It's like when I started the Sequoia project as the Sequoia project, when I before like after I'd spoken to you and 69 other people, when it actually became a project, something that I was going to take on at scale, was my girlfriend at the time said to me, she said, I said, look, I said, I don't even know if the information I got's any good. Like this is just the stuff that I've been doing for 5 years,
Mm,
and like I like it might help someone, but like I don't even know if it's any good because I've only ever used it myself and in my businesses and stuff like that. And she said something that was actually very struck a chord with me. She said the information you have will never be more relevant than it is right now,
yeah.
and that was so true because like I don't know how many books I read when I first started in business. I've read tons of I don't know hundreds of books, watched thousands of YouTube clips, all that kind of stuff, trying to get all this information about business. And some of the books I was reading, I was like, well, dude, this guy's killing it. Like, when was this written? And it was written in like 1980. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that doesn't work today. I can't buy a house in Wollongong for $13,000 today.
No, exactly.
Like, So, and she was 100% right because I'd actually put books down because I was just like, that's not even like that's not relevant today.
No,
And
exactly.
yeah, like it's all good. My business career might go for the next 35 years. And it's all good at that point to say, oh, now I have enough information to share with the people who are just starting. But they're in an entirely different world. In 35 years, who knows where AI will be, supercomputers, flying cars. We don't know what the market will look like in 35 years. So
No.
it is only as relevant as it is now. And another point that she made is she said, how are you going to, like, you've got tons of notebooks and stuff laying around of what you did and how you did it. But she's like, how are you going to remember all the details, all the stuff you didn't write down in 25 years? And
Mm,
that was there's no better legacy than like I've taught you a lot of the details that I've learned even in the last 2 years. We started together 2 years ago, and I went from being 5 years in business to 7 years in business in that time. I learned a lot more lessons in that. The details of the questions that you've asked me and the things that you and I have gone over, those have been imparted into you. So then, as
yeah,
we go through
absolutely.
the Sequoia project, even if I lose those details, Coby has those details, and they get passed down. So yeah, it's funny because what's happening today, you'll never be as good as you'll be in 30 years, but it's never been more relevant. Like, it doesn't matter if you've got day 100 experience or day 5,000 experience. It's never more relevant than it is right now.
I think the fact that just jumping into it and actually doing it as well, it's like you're growing as the businesses are growing and as
Yeah.
business is changing. So not only are you learning new information during that time, but no matter what, it's going to be relevant because you're learning along with them.
Yeah, yeah, it's current. And like even this stuff, like here, all this tech stuff, this isn't my this isn't my thing. This is
No, it's
Kobe's thing.
not.
And you did ask me for a year to do a podcast like this, but like I could what would take me 10 hours to do on the recording, editing side of things and posting and all that kind of stuff. It would take me 10 hours. It'd take Kobe 10 minutes. And it's like
Yeah.
even though my businesses haven't revolved around social media and social media, paid advertising and stuff like that, and editing and video works, uh, now within the project, I can get experience. I can learn from Coby those things,
Mm.
those the areas of my business that were never really necessary. Not even that they weren't necessary, but I just didn't have to learn them to make my businesses work. Now I can. So like even the experience that you have coming in into business 5 years later than I was, there's still
Yeah.
stuff that we can learn from each other. And yeah, it just shows that the information you have will be relevant to someone, but it will never be more relevant than right
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even vice versa, anything that throughout this, I'm not massive on the teaching side of it, but then being a part
now.
of this project, I can see everything how you do, and then later down the track, anything with the information you've given me, like you said, I'll hold that, and what you might not remember, I can come in and help on that other aspect. So it's going to be, I mean, everything. I feel like you just don't stop learning, especially when it comes to business. You'll never know everything there is to know.
The only thing that I know for sure since day one of getting into business is that I don't know what I'll learn. I don't know what I don't know until
Yeah,
I, I learn it. And you'll never know anything because the minute you think you've got it all figured out, there's another lesson coming right up. I also have to say, Coby broke his finger, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching the video of this, he's not an android and he doesn't have like some sort of robot hand. He broke his finger last night and he's still over there pressing all the buttons and panels and stuff like that for the podcast. So
I saw
yeah,
how I
you
looked
should.
holding a coffee like this, and I was like,
Yeah,
dude, this is just so like.
yeah. I was like, I should let the ladies and gentlemen know you're not a robot. he's he's a regular functioning human, but he doesn't know how to operate a computer.
It's a struggle only using two fingers on like this hand. It's trying to
Yeah.
type up posts and everything last night. I was like, Jesus Christ! I try to like press anything with this. I mean, even when you right click, like you're using this finger and it's connected to
Mm.
all the metal. So,
You got to just go voice to text, man. Just got to
oh
dictate
yeah,
that stuff
no, exactly.
for the next 4 weeks.
I feel like I
Well, I
turn
reckon.
old after doing that.
Well, I reckon that those are some really good points there, and like for anyone listening, if you have had like the same kind of feelings and stuff like that, just know that you're in a boat. Like I mean, we've helped over 650 businesses now, and
Mm,
I would say upwards, over 80% of them have shared the same feelings, same emotions, same thought processes as well. So I would honestly encourage you, like if you are in that situation and you've got the Groundhog Day kind of scenario, like Coby was saying, and it's like it just feels like you're doing the same thing over and over again, and that's not how you picture your life or how you want to live your life. So many people have been in that boat, and so many people, if you feel like you have no experience, if you feel like you don't know, what to do or where to turn or what questions to ask or who to ask even, you can take solace in the fact that a ton of people who are doing very well in business now started the same. We both started the same. I mean, yeah, the story has been repeated hundreds of thousands of times, and yeah, there's no reason why if you're feeling those things that business isn't an avenue that you can pursue
mm,
because we started there, and we're 7 years and 2 years now into our businesses, and we're still walking and talking. We started with the same amount of experiences as you did, and
yeah.
you learn as you go. That's like you will learn very quickly. There's a lot you don't know, and there's a lot more to find out. And the more you find out, the better business gets because you just get. It's kind of like a perpetual motion thing. The more you figure out, you need to learn, and you just go over and over and over again. And what feels uncomfortable today will not be uncomfortable tomorrow. I can guarantee you that.
I think the big thing to acknowledge as well is two very different points of life, two very different jobs, two very different ages and everything from when you and I started. But it was the same process to get into it.
Mm. Yeah.
No matter
That,
where we were, I mean, even anyone out there, you can be 16 years old, you can be 40 years old, you can have
mhm.
no money, you can have all the money. You're going to have to do the exact same process that I did, the same process that you did, everything to get into it.
Mm.
It's as simple. Find something you want to do, find something that people might need, learn how to do that thing, and put it out there.
Mm. Yeah, no, and that's exactly right because, and it's a good point that you bring up is when you start in business, you're never going to have something perfect from the get go because it's day
No,
one. It's day one. So you have to basically set yourself up in a way that you have a problem to solve for a certain person that has that problem, and you need to know how you're going to do it differently to everyone else. That's really the backbone of
yeah,
starting a
absolutely.
business. But the prerequisite to get in, like you don't even. I mean, we started both of our businesses no money down. Like I started,
No.
well, not my first business, but my construction business and everything after that. I went and got the customers before I ever spent a dollar. Coby didn't spend any money whatsoever before he made profit. So even if you are thinking of a complicated business, and you think, oh, I need funding, I need money, I need start, I'm going to have to spend 20,000 or everything like that. There is a simple version of that business where you don't have to spend any money whatsoever, and you will have to learn the same lessons. It's like there is a core. If you think of it kind of like a tightrope, you're going to walk down a tightrope. There
Mm.
is only so many things that you can do that are right and that are wrong crossing the tightrope. So that core fundamental of balance and where you place your feet and what tempo you walk and everything like that has to stay the same. I don't care if you're the worst tightrope walker or the best. They have to use the same tightrope to get across. Everything else can then be filled in on top. It's more an act of knowing the fundamentals, and doesn't matter what business you're in. I mean, he's in media, I'm in construction, vehicle and equipment hire, project management, waste removal. We've worked with 600 businesses that do all sorts of stuff, crazy stuff.
Mm.
The fundamentals are the same. There's only a right way and a wrong way to do certain things. Once you know the fundamentals, you can fill in everything on top. Your dreams, your passions, your natural abilities, all those kinds of things. But the fundamentals are the key differences to how it works. And you can start a business today with no money down. And we'll probably even, in the coming sessions, we might even actually do a whole thing on like an example business from scratch with no money down. Because
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
that actually would be a really cool episode, and we could use one of ours, or we could take a random one from start to finish. But yeah, there's tons of examples. But learning how to get a customer, learning how to keep a customer, invoicing, taxes, all that kind of stuff, all of those fundamentals. I don't care whether you sell hamburgers or you sell stainless steel. It's the same process. It has to be done either the right way or the wrong way, and then again, everything else can be filled in on top of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. I think, in all honesty, I reckon that is a good thing to close off. Can you take a note down, Kobe, if you've got a sheet in front of you there? Can you take a note down for doing an episode just on a no frills, no fuss, no money startup business? Because maybe somewhere in the first 10 episodes, we might run something like that. I think that'd be pretty helpful.
This is really hard to type this up, but yeah.
I got the injured person to type something up.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
no, it's not like the person with two working hands could have done it.
yeah, mate, I'm flat out looking at this screen. This has got so many monitors and stuff on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to close for today. I want to do on the end of everything key takeaways for each of us. So because I think we're at what are we at? We're almost at 28 minutes. It says on the screen. So let's do
running 26 minutes on the timer at
Cool.
the moment. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do key takeaway from the episode. If you had to say something, someone's listening, they want to start the business, they're in business right now. What would you think would make the most difference for them about what we talked about today?
Yeah, I think just to pretty much sum it up a lot, I mean, a lot of this ended up just being on one point, which absolutely went completely off where it was meant to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Sort of no matter how you feel or no matter what point you are at life, like anyone can kind of do business. And it's going to be a similar process to what anyone's going to have to do. Like the big thing is you're going to have to go out there, you're going to have to start, and you're going to have to do the same process no matter what you're trying to do in business. I think that's the big thing to acknowledge. Yeah, no matter your point, age, money, anything like that, you will have to do the exact same thing to get to anywhere you want in business. It's going to have to all start the same.
Yeah, for sure. I would think for me the key takeaway is listen to the things you're saying to yourself on the day to day. That would be the biggest thing, because like I haven't even thought about that thought in my head that I used to have. I remember it so clearly. Sitting in the break room, turning up at work, I used to think to myself, there has to be more to life than this every single day. I haven't thought about that for years and years and years. But the reason that I started business is because I started listening to what I was saying to myself when no one else was listening. What I started saying in my head, I started listening to, which was, well, if that's true, we should at least try and find it. Yeah. So if you are in that situation and you find yourself saying these kinds of things in your head and you think that business might be that avenue for you, I would encourage you just to listen to what you're actually saying to yourself on a day-to-day basis and ask questions about it. Because if you're at work and you're thinking, man, I could manage this business 100% better than these guys could do it right now, challenge yourself and go, well, is that true? Like, do I actually believe that? If the answer is yes, and business is a vehicle that you're interested in, then I would say, yeah, just listen to yourself, be more aware, and take what you're saying to yourself more seriously, because it might be the thing that gets you to change. If you've been thinking about starting a business for a long time, that would probably be a good place to start, I would say.
I think a big thing I want to ask you just to close off is do you think you found that something more thanks to the 7 years in business?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, in every aspect, absolutely
Mm,
every aspect. And if I lost everything tomorrow, I honestly would not care, because what I've achieved in terms of how I feel about life in the last 7 years is I felt like I just took a big fucking swing, you know,
yeah.
like, and before it just felt like, I was just playing it safe and I was just keeping it, small and doing all this kind of stuff. And like, I didn't want to raise any eyebrows or do anything like that. The last 7 years, no matter what happens, I just had the balls to fucking swing. And that feels good. That feels
Yeah.
really good. And to say that and to say and feel it when I say that, I would trade that for anything in the world. It just feels really good. So, yeah, I have found that. And, yeah, I think anyone that sets their eyes on something and swings for it, man, welcome to the arena. But I can respect someone that does that.
Yeah. I think that's a good feeling to leave people off on. So, I mean, if a lot of people are feeling that sort of way, we have obviously the one-on-one coaching as well as the Sequoia Project group to be able to actually access some of the help and get some
Mm.
personal information, everything from yourself, and build along in a community that's potentially experiencing the exact same feelings that you are. And I mean, there'll be so many people out there that will be.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are looking for help, the group is probably a great place to start. It's $50 a week, and you can ask me any questions that you want in there. Kobe will be probably joining us in the group a little bit later on as well. So if you are looking for help and you're short on cash, or you don't know what you're going to start up, or you just want to ask some questions, that's nice and accessible. We specifically built it to be that. And then outside of that, even if you find the information that we're saying interesting enough, like go and test it. Go and like try it for yourself. You don't have to join anything or anything like that. But yeah, just go and feel it for yourself and make up your own mind if it feels logical. Because our thing is very simple. Our thing is very driven and direct, and it's generated for results. So yeah, if you hear anything on this and you want to try it for yourself, and then you can come and join the group and ask questions later. But yeah, it's just all we are is an alternative, something that might be simpler and easier to understand than what is out there. But there's tons of good information out there. So yeah, help yourself where you need.
Absolutely. Links to everything will be available below in the descriptions of the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, everything else that we got on there, also on social media and whatnot. So follow along, and
Oh, do I
we'll
get to
catch you.
say? Do I get to say like and subscribe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hit the like button and subscribe button. I can't even bend my finger.
No, I've always wanted to say that in a real thing. I say it just to take the piss sometimes, but now I get to say it on a real thing.
There you go. You could do the outro. I'll take my seat back here, and you can run it.
That's right. We already nailed it. So that's all good. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Any questions, anything that you want us to talk about or anything like that, chuck it in the comments, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Easy done. We'll see you guys next week.